Intuitive employee number 1. My name is Barry Charnish, and this is my career path story. So I originally went into engineering to become an urban planner. In those days, the way the urban planning was through, you could get in through civil engineering or you could get in through architecture. I wasn't that good a sketcher, so I went in through civil engineering. I seemed to develop a facility for working with steel and concrete in my courses. And I actually started to enjoy it, whereas I learned more about urban planning and didn't enjoy it as much. So right out of University of Toronto, I got a job with Yawlis. I was fortunate in the early part of my career to be working with Roland Bergman, Axel Solomets, and Alex Chomachenko, as well as Morgan Yawlis, who were my key mentors, but mentors in a different aspect. My first built building was the Harbour Centre in Vancouver. As I was finishing up on Vancouver, I started on First Canadian Place. So I was on First Canadian Place for 6 years. I'm not a great salesperson. I mean, my parents used to buy all my chocolate bars at high school because I hated selling. I don't consider that it's necessarily to be the greatest salesman. To achieve success in engineering, you have to get out there and do it, however. At one stage in my early career, when I became a partner in the previous firm, Yawlis, I was basically told, you're a partner now, we're not giving you any work. You got to go out and get your own work. I guess I forced myself, if that's the right expression, to get out there and make some cold calls, but also find other means of getting work. So working my way to about 1987, where I started working on Bay Adelaide, which has been my 25, 30-year career project. During the course of that, I worked on World Financial Center in New York, did 2 towers there with Rolly and Andy Bergman. Some buildings out in Calgary. Eventually, the Bow was near the end of my Yawlis career. I left Yawlis after too many years, about 8.5 years ago, or just over 8 years, I guess. We started Intuitive. First 5 or 6 years of Intuitive were probably the highlights of my career. I mean, we went from, as we say, 3 guys on a laptop to the 215, 230 people we are today. But we did that, I think, generally because of the support of our clients. You need strong support from staff and the people you work with. But I also think it's important to have what I would call a 4-dimensional thinking. And that is, obviously we're engineers, so we need to talk about a number of things, but I think the 4th dimension in this is understanding the client's needs. And I put some of my success to the fact that I've listened to what the clients want. And I think critically, the clients want money options. They want your thoughts, but not necessarily your decision on an item. I'm notorious for going to meetings 10 minutes early, if not 20 minutes early. And I usually use that time to talk to the architects or the developers, find out what they're doing on other projects, just find out what they're doing about the working career that they have, talk to them about other things, cottage or golf or ski or what have you. For some developers, I spend time actually just trying to understand their properties. You know, could we do something at that site to increase their value? You know, could we add a building there? Could we knock down a little 2-story thing and put up a 40-story building? So I spend quite a bit of time exploring their other properties and coming back to them and say, hey, do you realize that we could do something here? Don't know if the zoning would allow it, but I think there's an opportunity here to make some money. You always want to think in the, as I said, the 4th dimension of what the client is interested in. So part of the listening exercise is trying to understand what the architect wants. I mean, he will tell you if you ask them the right question, particularly the structural side, because he will say, well, that's your job, but what are some of the key points? Not necessarily the solution, but a key point might be spans, might be building height, might be gymnastics in the building, or speed of construction, or Jeep. I mean, I think I have an ability to think in 3 dimensions, and I've said in 4 dimensions. It doesn't come to me quickly. Sometimes during supper, I say eureka or whatever I use, that I've finally got the solution that's probably been sitting there as a problem for a week. If you push yourself enough, it doesn't come to you quickly. And if you're going to come up with the easiest solution, then maybe you're not looking deep enough. And I think that is a statement about our future generation of work, and also how it helps your career. Because I think if you get right in there and test yourself, it's just like an athlete. The athlete doesn't run a 4-minute, 30-second mile and become an Olympic champion. It's only by pushing yourself, but doing the work, training, running, you get the ability to go forward, help your career.